Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Andrew Bartolotta. We're honored to bring you inspiring individuals and organizations making an impact and difference in our community and around the globe. And today we have a special guest who's built an impressive online community centered around celebrating Native American arts and culture. His name is Paul Gowder, and he's the visionary behind powwows.com, an incredible platform that has for the past 25 years united people around a shared passion and purpose. And apart from running this thriving community, Paul is a master at creating intentional businesses that support the lifestyle we all desire, whether that's sailing away on a Disney cruise or simply having extra midday time with your family. From his accidental stumble into entrepreneurship to his expert utilization of email marketing and strategic giveaways, Paul's journey is filled with inspiring life lessons and invaluable business advice. So let's buckle up and get ready to explore the intriguing world of online communities, entrepreneurship, and more. Paul, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. Now, first, can you share the story of how you started powwows.com back in 1996?
Long time ago, right? I did not build powwows.com intentionally as a business. I think you mentioned it really fell into this accidentally. I was in graduate school, and in my free time, I was playing games and playing on computers and stuff since I was a little kid. So when the whole web thing started happening, I was like, I want to build some web pages. I think that would be fun. So I built some pages on the things I knew about. And you can see Star Wars stuff behind me. So I built a whole website about vintage Star Wars collecting. And you can't see it, it's right up, but my entire figure collection is right here. I still have them. But nobody came to visit that website. But I also at the same time was just discovering powwows and learning about some of my heritage, but also had some friends who were taking me to powwows and introducing me to the world, helping me make my first outfits, teaching me how to bead and all that stuff. And it was really fun to explore and learn all that stuff. And as I was learning, I was putting it on a web page, and that one resonated with people. And from there, it kind of, over the last 25 years, it just started growing, and we've had an incredible community ever since.
Well, I love the term accidental entrepreneurship because that really is at the foundation of what happened. Even you saying my immediate first passion was vintage Star Wars toys and memorabilia, and so that's what I'm going to build. And then when no one visits that website or very few visitors, you go, okay, well, now I'm going to take the lessons that I've learned now to powwows.com. For those that may have heard, of course, the term powwow in the modern sense, talk about what the term community means to you and how that sort of resonates with the term powwow in the Native American sense.
So powwows have been and still are just a way for tribes, communities, families to come together and celebrate. And when you go to a powwow, whether you go just as a spectator, or you're going to dance and sing or whatever, there is that feeling of community. You feel like you are a part of something bigger. And as soon as we introduced those first few web pages, people wanted to have that same experience that they get at a powwow. They wanted to have that online. So, we started adding forums and ways for people to collaborate. And it is that sense of we're all kind of sharing the same beliefs. We're wanting to learn the same kind of things. And we wanted to share experiences around the whole powwow world. And sometimes community, of course, we talk about other things outside of the powwow world, but it's because we all have that one shared interest that we're able to build that sense of community.
Well, I think we can coin you as like the first Mark Zuckerberg, and you really creating what seems to me being a social network of like-minded interests to come together and share their shared interests, as well as create this experience both in person and online with powwows.com. That's super cool. And you've really migrated this into helping so many expand their business and their communities. You do a lot of things given around giveaways. Talk about delve into how giveaways have helped grow your business personally.
Right. So that's one of the things I love doing, where we've been able to have some really exciting giveaways on powwows.com. And so I've got a blanket sitting here that a company 8th Generation gave to us to give away. It's a beautiful wool blanket. And so we try to offer prizes that, of course, that our audience will like, not just some, generic gift card or something. We'll do that occasionally, but we try to offer something that our audience is going to like. And then we create ways with the giveaway for people to do a little bit more. So we use some software, there's lots of them out there, but where we can incentivize people to go and maybe visit a web page or go and listen to a podcast episode or things like that. And because we've built this community on powwows.com, people love that aspect of it, right? They feel like they're being able to explore a little bit more, or they feel like it's a game. We kind of gamify the whole thing, and we've even done like scavenger hunts and hidden things on different parts of the website or on our live shows, things like that. So yeah, it's a fun way to, if you've built that sense of community, to have people really engage further. And with a giveaway, you can build traffic, you can build your email list. All those things are side benefits of being able to, take a giveaway kind of thing and run it in your community.
A lot of people struggle with growing their online followers, whether they're a business, entrepreneur, nonprofit. What advice do you have for those that continue to struggle and may think that either giveaways or email newsletters and such are out of their expertise, or
Sure.
they think, oh, I don't have time to do that? What advice would you give them?
So I think one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs miss in this whole social media marketing world is, especially now we have this new Threads launching, right? And so everybody's jumping over to that. We like to use different platforms. And I think a lot of times entrepreneurs, brands, whatever, use these platforms as just a way to shout out to their followers. And even with email, even with giveaways on Threads, I try to use a tone of voice that's, I try to stay very casual, conversational. I talk directly to people. When I show people example of my newsletters, they think I'm crazy, but the first couple of paragraphs of an email, even if I'm saying, hey, here's some new articles we wrote this week and I want you to go read them, the first couple of paragraphs are very personal. It's like, hey, by the way, I just got back from a trip from Disney World. Here's a couple of things we did. Totally not powwow related, right? But people like that personal touch, and I treat them in the email like they are still part of this community. So it doesn't matter the platform, as long as you go with that community first mindset. I think then you can start building it. And you have to look at everything. Every piece of this it's all community. And, don't get caught up in community can only be on a Facebook group, right? I can't tell you, like, going back to the email, I have some emails where I ask people questions in some of my email sequences. And those are some of the best engagements I get, because people will write me back stories, and then we're able to have these conversations. And, once we start having these conversations, and again, people feel like they are part of this bigger sense of community.
That is a huge, important piece that a lot of brands, I feel like, are missing, because they are focused around being a monologue instead of a dialogue when it comes to social media. And
Right.
that's what it's all about. It's about conversations and building that community. And so for you to recognize that and to help others do that is great. And it really does showcase how people can build common interests together around a product, a service, anything
Right.
that you offer. And it's not just, hey, look at me, this is what we're doing. You're conversationally, you're being transparent, and you're humanizing the brand as well as yourself personally, to say, yes, I'm a human. Yes, I've traveled, and so you may be catching up on your emails. Here's what I've
Right.
learned, and vacationing and family time. And so I love that part, because that really helps people actually read the emails that you send out, which is all part of building an engaged online community. What would you say are some of the most critical elements in building that engaged online community? I assume that a lot of it has to deal around being conversational. What are some other elements that you say are key?
One of the first things I think anybody starting a business, or even if you're years into a business, please make sure you are building your email list. Again, going back to, we have a new platform, we're all jumping over on Threads and diving into it and building these followers. You don't control any of that. It seems like we have a little bit of control, but we don't. That we're all victims of these algorithms and changes of these billionaires and however they want to view us. So for me, that's the big community, or key step in community for me, is making sure that I have an email list, that I continue to build that and really, really put a lot of effort into it. Whether, and not just building it, but again, nurturing that community through these conversations, making sure that I can segment my list into different groups depending on the different topics people are interested in, and then giving them content in that area that they're particularly interested in. Again, I'm engaging where they are and what they want to see. So using email as is a key part of your business, and you can own that data and really continue to engage with your customers regardless of the platform.
I think data is one of the largest things that you can really have control of when it comes to your company, your business.
Yes.
And we've gotten away from it with social media because we assume that I own my Facebook page and I own no, there's so many ways. And like you said, these billionaires, they are using us for their data to
Exactly.
track and target advertisers and audiences and such. And so for you to say email, yes, make sure you have the email addresses and you're utilizing them and creating that that relationship with your customers and clients and prospects is key. And I've seen so many businesses just put their eggs all in the social media basket and not email marketing. And that is a huge disadvantage to building and maintaining their audiences, especially as you've seen social media change so much, even in the past half decade.
Right.
What have been some of your biggest challenges and rewards in maintaining powwows.com? You're talking about over 25 years, where 1996 to now, like let alone 2006 to now, has changed in the internet landscape. What were some of your biggest challenges and now rewards still maintaining such a great online community?
I mean, social media, when it first burst onto the scene, that was probably our biggest hurdle, challenge, crash, or however you want to phrase it. We were a forum based, right? So we had a website where people could go and you could have conversations. We had different topics set up. We had hundreds of thousands of people visiting the site every week, tons and tons of people commenting and having these engagements. People, have friendships out because of that in real life. Some of the people that still help me on powwows.com is because of these forums back in the 90s and early 2000s. And then social media hit. And I can remember getting emails from moderators from on the V Bulletin, or people that, have been on there for a long time, saying, man, this was fun, but I'm out. I'm going to Facebook. It's a great ride. Powwows.com was good. Sorry, it's over. And people really did think it was dead because everybody moved to Facebook and our forums just dried up. So it was, like I said earlier, you got to build community where your people are. And that was a real pivot point for us. And we had to figure out what that meant and how we could utilize social media to continue that conversation, to continue that community. And it did take us a little while to figure it out. I mean, but now social media is as weird and as whimsical as it is, it still is an important tool for us. And it still is a way we engage the community and we put out our content and do our live streams, things like that. But we had to shift and we had to learn how to do that. And it's one of the things I tell people, when I had V Bulletin, when you registered, I got all your data. I got your name, your email address, your birthday even. And so then making that switch over to Facebook and social media, we knew we had to continue to find ways to capture. And going back to, again, I had to get emails addressed. I had to build that customer list myself and not depend on somebody else.
That's great advice. And also another reason why social media should be a tool in your toolbox and not just the ultimate tool that you're using. So
Yes.
great advice there. We mentioned on the onset that you love to travel and you've made over 40 trips to Disney with your family. Talk about how you prioritize experiences while building and running a business.
So while I say I was an accidental entrepreneur, at some point, powwows.com started building to a point where it was costing money, right? I mean, we had to pay for things. We had to start upgrading our servers and doing more things. And I remember the day that my wife, she told me, you've got to make this you've got to actually make this a legitimate business. Go get an LLC and do all that stuff. It's like, you're getting to the point where, we have some issues here, right? And so in those early days of figuring out how we're going to turn this into a business and how we're going to pay for these expenses, it was, while I enjoyed spending late nights and spending my work, my lunch break, because I was working a full-time job doing something else, I enjoyed all that, the entrepreneur part of it. but I also, we as a family kind of decided, if we're going to do all of this, if we're going to put in all this extra work while we work other jobs, why? What are we doing this for? And for us, it was, let's create a way for us to, have additional revenue to, if we're going to work all this, let's prioritize having experiences, and we want to travel. And so that's our why. And that's, those days when it's tough as an entrepreneur and you don't want to get up in the morning and work, knowing your why really helps. And so, it was a little easier saying, okay, well, I've got to go and, I've got to spend my Saturday doing this because next Saturday we're going to be able to go on a trip. Right. And so that's kind of how we were. And we made choices as a family where we maybe didn't buy a new car as often as we could have, right? We took that money and we put it toward a fund where we could go to Disney World and have those kind of trips and memories, things like that. That was the decision we made, and it's worked out really well for us. My wife's now a travel planner, and so she helps people plan trips, and we still continue to travel, and it does. And now that I'm full-time with powells.com, again, it's still my why. It's the reason I do this. Of course, I want powells.com to be successful. I want people to come and experience it and be part of the community. But for us, it's building this business so that we can have the benefits of traveling and making memories of family.
And understanding and knowing your why as an entrepreneur helps drive your creativity, your business, your mindset to then continue to grow and build that community. So that's super important. And I was hoping that at least you or your wife became a travel planner if you're going to travel that much to Disney World, or even travel that much in general. My brother has also, our family loves to travel, and he is he's become a travel planner too now in his free time, and it's just so much fun. And to help others as well, you sort of live vicariously through them as well, but also then go, hey, I want to experience that trip, let me go on that too. So for those that are watching or listening right now, what are 2 to 3 practical actions that our audience can take today to move the needle in their business?
Start capturing emails if you're not. If you are, look at, well, let me back up. So recently I helped some friends and I did some audits of people's websites, and we talked about how they're doing email. Even if you think you're building your email list, I would tell you first, go look at your website and make sure you're actually asking for people's website. I can't tell you how many of these people I was kind of auditing their websites where I would go to an article page, right? A place where you're promoting on social media, a place you want people to land, and nowhere on that page did you ever ask for an email address. So that's, go and look at that today. Are you asking, do you have a place for people to subscribe? Okay, that's the first thing. Now let's go and look at what you're sending. Make sure you're not sending out something that looks like an ad from, Best Buy or Target or something like that. People want to interact with you personally. So look at your emails, make sure that you're being conversational, that you're being personal, and that you're being authentic to yourself. Those are the things I tell you that will make a huge difference. And from there, of course, you can get into the advanced stuff of email. And like I said, talk about segmenting your list and delivering the content and those like that will all come. Make sure you're collecting the emails appropriately, and then make sure that you're actually sending out content that people want to read.
I love that. And that helps with open rates, that helps with building that community, just really helps with everything you do to keep your current customers, client base, but also those that you want to come into that thread. So that is great advice there. What puts a smile on your face when you look at the work that you've done with powwows.com and creating this intentional community, as well as helping others build theirs?
When we started live streaming powwows back in 2004, getting messages from people that are maybe native folks that are serving overseas and are not able to come home and visit powwows, and they're watching online, and because of the whole community aspect, I'll get an email and says, hey, I felt like I was there with my tribe. Or I'll get an elderly person that's not able to travel as much, and they'll write and say, thank you, I was able to watch my grandson dance this weekend. Those mean the world. And so being able to take these things we've learned about and share it with people, and then you hear that they're actually enjoying it, and and it means something to them and it's fulfilling them, those are the best messages.
I love that. And that really puts, again, the why into what you do.
Yes.
About creating that community that they may be overseas or they may be in a different state and they still feel like they're part of their tribe because you're
Right.
providing that platform for them. And did you ever think 25 and so years ago that powwows.com would, one, still be around, but two, be thriving?
No, no. I mean, like I said, there were so many challenges over the years, social media taking over. It was always a dream that, one day maybe, we'll hit the viral algorithms and we'll, blow up to this huge thing and I'll be able to go full time with it. I never thought I would get here. Fortunately, I did work a job that had a pension that kind of helped me retire and, have a little, the whole financial thing, right? Never thought in a million years that I would actually be able to fulfill that dream. So it's been really amazing to kind of have this journey and be able to do this every day. It's fantastic.
I love it. Paul, where can people go to learn more about powwows.com, obviously, but also to work with you to help build their business through your efforts in email marketing and creating that online thriving community?
First, I want to encourage everybody who's listening, if you haven't ever been to a powwow, please go find one. There's multiple in every state. If you're interested in Tennessee powwows, powwows.com/Tennessee. It'll take you right to a page where we list all of them. There's some coming up this fall in Union City. I'm, pulled up in Dayton. There's a lot that happen right there in Tennessee. So go find it. Powwows are open to the public. They'd love for you to come and watch. You're going to have a great time. It's a fantastic festival. You're going to see singing. You're going to see dancing. You're going to have food. You're going to have vendors. I highly encourage it. It's a great atmosphere to go. So please go check that out. If you want to learn more about building some giveaways to grow your community or how we build email, go check me out over at paulgowder.com. I've got a course and some coaching opportunities. I'd love to help you with your business.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for creating the lifestyle you want with intentional business and practicality when it comes to building a thriving online community that also thrives in person as well through the work that you're doing, the platform that you're providing. Paul Gowder, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.